I did some research before I came on and did this segment with you, and Dave knows that I go through a lot of details and different things like that. So a commercial jet, Dave, they can fly about 41,000 feet if they want, maybe 43, but those are the big Boeing, you know where this is going, the big
Hmm.
Boeing 767s, 87s. Winnipeg Jets are higher than them right now, and they're showing no signs of descending. One of the many topics we'll discuss today on the latest, brought to you as always by CCM Hockey. I think this is what happened last time
That was
too.
good.
I got it out of the way early. I did research.
Yeah,
I thought, what's the highest a commercial plane has ever flown? And
right.
anyway, Winnipeg Jets. We'll talk about Buffalo. We'll talk about Detroit. We'll go into the Vancouver Canucks as well. They're happy. They seem to be enjoying themselves finally in Vancouver. But let's go to Winnipeg. 15-1. It's an unbelievable story. They could be 16-0. They lost to Toronto, but if they didn't dig themselves in that 4-0 hole, they made it 4-3. They could easily be 16-0. There is absolutely nothing and no signs to me that are going to slow this team down at the moment.
Nothing, Ryan. I mean, this team, they're any expression you want to use, firing on all cylinders. They're locked into their target. They're this, that, and the other. I tried to follow your lead on that one.
You
I
did.
failed. I didn't. I failed, but
You need
this
some
like
work.
I'm gonna learn. At
Yeah.
some point, I'm gonna learn. But even outside of the performance of Connor Hellebuck, who was on an MVP caliber start to the season, they have 11 guys already in double digits in points on this team. 16 games in. They're getting contributions up and down the lineup. It's not just Kyle Connor and Mark Scheifele leading the charge. They've got everybody else in the mix. Ehlers and Perfetti and Niederreiter and Nemestikov and so on and so on. They're getting help up and down this lineup. And I was looking at this, and one of the things that we do at the fourth period, and we try to talk about here on the latest,
Hmm.
is some of the activity and trade talk and all
Right.
the banter going around the league. I look at this Winnipeg Jets team and I think to myself, well, they're pretty good in net, so they're probably
Yeah.
not going to have to address that.
No.
They are deep lines 1 through 4. They're pretty good. Is there an area of this team that could potentially improve or look to add down the road? And I look at the blue line as really the only potential where they can makes any type of addition. They don't have to right now. That's going to be something that they're going to probably look at later on in the season. But if this team gets their hands, and they've got a little bit of cap space now, Ryan, they get their hands on a top 4 defenseman.
Watch out.
Yeah, like they've got some flexibility. Marcus Pettersson is probably going to be on a lot of teams' radars out of Pittsburgh. I've got to imagine that Chevy and the crew in Winnipeg are going to look at him. But man, they add somebody else to that top 4 decor, they're going to be that much more potent.
This is a dream for Shovel Dayoff and everybody because the way the team is playing is fantastic. So now you're looking down the road to tweak, just maybe add a small little piece that can put them over the top. But they're soaring. They're playing incredible hockey. You mentioned the 11 guys with at least 10 points. 3 guys have at least 20, so they're balanced across the board. Let's dive into Ottawa, Buffalo, and Detroit. They're all a mystery. It's all an enigma with these 3 teams, especially Buffalo. They start off well and then they go into this funk. And next thing you know, by the 82nd game, we're thinking, what are they going to do a season from now? Out of those 3, are any or of the 3, who do you think may advance to the postseason by the time we get to that point?
Well, I look at them. Obviously, the Sabres play tonight. They're missing Thompson. UPL's out tonight.
Yep.
Um, it's going to be tough sledding for them if they lose either of those 2 guys for any extended period of time. Detroit had the overtime win against Pittsburgh last night, which right now it's the Penguins, so it doesn't really count. And you're looking at the Sens, and
Yeah.
if I'm looking at one of these 3 teams, I'm looking at Ottawa's performance. We talked about depth with Winnipeg, the depth that is being exploited positively out of Ottawa, coupled with the performance of finally having a legit number 1 goaltender in Linus Ullmark.
That's so big.
That might push them over the top, Pates. I mean, this could be their year to get back into playoff contention. And I figured they'd battle for a wild card spot, probably be on the outside looking in. But there might be enough right now with Travis Green's system now in place and the guys that are contributing offensively and defensively. And Omar got his first shutout in Toronto the other night.
Yep.
There might be enough of a mixture here to keep them not just in contention, but in the wild card discussion into the stretch. If I'm looking at one of these 3 teams, there's more work that needs to be done in Detroit. There's more work that needs to be done in Buffalo. I'm liking what I'm seeing out of the Sens right now.
They're a tough team to play against. I would simply put it based on the goaltending, as you mentioned. They have Allmark in goal, and Ukko-Pekka
Yeah.
Luukkonen, fine, Cam Talbot. But no, I think most people would, Linus Allmark over those other two, with all due respect. We'll see. Last one, Vancouver. I said off the top that they look like they're having fun again. Elias Pettersson, back-to-back multi-point efforts. They've won 4 or 5. The team is playing well. This is kind of what we expected, and the record certainly is indicative of the play lately.
Yeah, they're back into the top 3 slot in the Pacific. The sky has stopped falling in Vancouver. The fan base needs to just lower things a little bit. Just breathe every once in a while. The air out there is fantastic. Breathe it in. I love it out there. But interesting start. You don't have Demko. Petey is struggling out of the gate. But as you said, he's coming together. Demko's going to get on the ice soon with respect to practicing. And the pieces are now folding together. Obviously, you're worried about health of certain guys, longevity-wise, with Besser and so on. But there should be enough in the tank for this team to remain competitive moving forward. And staying in the 3 slot or battling for home ice in the 2 or 3 slot in the Pacific Division. So, look, sometimes it takes a little bit longer to get to those expectations. They've surpassed Calgary right now for the time being, and Calgary exceeded expectations, so they're coming back down to earth. Vancouver's climbing. NHL, Pates, we talk about this all the time, especially on the hot stove.
Yeah.
NHL always has a way of evening itself out.
It does.
And the Canucks, they're on the right path right now.
And the Pacific seems that way. Hot stove, yeah, we'll do that again on Saturday, as we always do. So that's a quick look at the Jets, Sens, Sabres, Wings, Vancouver. This is always great to do. It's the latest and brought to you by CCM Hockey.